It's the best of one mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One mic with Big Mike.
You know, ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah, I Bang Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
We got to find out what's going on. Courtney Cronin of the Bay Area News Group and of the San Jose Mercury News. Courtney, what's going on? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Did I catch you on the beach? I'm fine. Did I catch you on the beach?
No, not at all. It's just been a crazy afternoon.
Look, trust me, I definitely feel you. Let's jump right into it. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked my last guest. If I were to tell you that Steph Curry and Klay Thompson would combine for 20 points in the first game of the NBA Finals, have you assumed the Cavs won by?
I'd probably say anywhere from 10 to 15 points. I mean, we've seen, not very often, but we've seen this season where either Klay hasn't had a good game or showed up, or Steph was injured, and the Warriors had to rely on their strength in numbers and go to the bench. But there really hasn't been too many examples of where both of them struggled, and I think it's just the fatigue of the Western Conference Finals still kind of out there for both of them, and it's such a testament to the way that this team was built, in how Leandro Barbosa, who's 33, 34 years old, Andre Iguodala, same thing with Sean Livingston, guys who are in their 30 plus. I mean, and they're doing so well, just with the depth this bench has. So I think, they're lucky they have that bench, and you really got to wonder what the story is for the Cavs going forward. I mean, the Warriors aren't even playing their best basketball, technically, obviously it's big minutes for Livingston and Iguodala, but their best players aren't playing, and they still beat the Cavs by, 15-plus points. I mean, that's a big deal.
You guys make sure you're following Courtney at Courtney R. Cronin on Twitter, as I do. This team, this Warriors team, is gone from being this amazing story to now there seems to be a growing sentiment or a growing population of people who are rooting for the failure of this team. And I can't seem to put my finger on why. I can't seem to put my finger on whether it's kind of Steph and that quiet arrogance he kind of has, or Draymond, or if it's just the winning in general. What do you attribute that attitude towards?
I think a lot of it has to do with just the makeup of this team. I mean, you have a guy who's 6'2" from Davidson, not a college basketball powerhouse, a kid that is, taking the league by storm by not being a 6'6" point guard with muscles like LeBron and tattoos everywhere, and just kind of that, the grind it out type guy. I mean, take a look at Allen Iverson. I mean, he was hated on. I like to draw a lot of comparisons to that. He was hated on for so long by the way he played basketball. He was a short point guard who was scrappy and who fought to get it done. I mean, he wasn't your prototypical 6'6" point guard. I mean, he's and he got the same kind of treatment. And I think, obviously, he and Steph are completely different people. Steph is the cookie cutter, American kid who's done this. And I think a lot of it, too, he's got a million endorsement deals. His face is everywhere. Everybody knows who Steph Curry is. And then with Draymond Green, he's kind of become the villain a little bit of the NBA, or at least of the NBA the playoffs, just because of, the groin incident with Steven Adams. And Draymond loves to talk trash, and, he embraces it. He never shies away from who he is. And this team knows their identity.
Yeah.
And they've broken the Bulls records. They've broken individual records. And I think that a lot of times people said it to Kobe and LeBron, okay, well, if you're going to break MJ's record, you better come correct and back that up with a championship. And a lot of times they didn't. So, obviously there's certain circumstances where LeBron has won rings before, and Kobe too, but the Warriors are doing it all in 1 year. It's not spread out. They're doing everything. They're breaking everybody's records in 1 year. They're breaking personal records in 1 year. And I just know, from being from Chicago, the hate that Bulls fans, most of us who grew up in the 90s grew up on the, the three-peat team and then the repeat three-peat team, and they don't want to see those records, go to somebody else now. But, I think it's just they're the national story, and they haven't gone away. It's not like this is something that came about late in the season.
Right.
They've been the number one story in basketball since, the season started in October.
Let's talk about the mental makeup of this team. This is a very, very confident bunch, a team that just came back from an improbable, seemed to be 3-1, or I guess now you say a 1-3 deficit. But they never seem to get into that dangerous realm of overconfidence where someone can sneak up on them and catch them slipping. What is it that keeps that team in that rare air that we can experience extreme confidence, but not overconfidence to where we can get beat in the more important moments, like you might see another team get beaten?
Yeah, I attribute a lot of it to some of the makeup of this team, and just Steph Curry doesn't have a max contract. He could go anywhere he wants. He doesn't. He's making far below the
value.
league max. And that's something that you've got to take a look at. LeBron has a max deal. He will always have a max deal. Steph Curry, Draymond Green's making about $4 million more a year than him, but you would not even think that just by, he has that superstar mentality, but he's very low-key, down-to-earth. There's no one superstar of this group. Yes, you can point to Steph and Clay from yesterday's game, just being like, okay, well, their stars didn't play well, but they still won. There is very much an even-keel nature to this team. You have Steph, you have Clay, you have Draymond, who is the best do-it-all player in the NBA right now, in my opinion. You have your OGs and Andre Iguodala, who, let's not forget, this dude was an all-star in Philadelphia.
Absolutely.
This guy, he's one of the best elite defenders in the league, and I think people just forget about it because it's like, okay, well, you have Clay, Steph, and Draymond, and then, you throw in Bogut's a big name, and then Harrison Barnes. Let's not forget what he, Andre was a major part of that Philadelphia team in the mid-2000s, then, going to Denver. Is always been a solid basketball player, and Sean Livingston was supposed to be the next Penny Hardaway.
Mm-hmm.
This is a makeup of very talented players, but there's really not a whole ton of ego, because I think they found their recipe to success, in last year's championship was just kind of this blue-collar style of basketball.
You know what I equate it to? I equate it to, you mentioned the 90s. I equate it to that Pistons team and Chuck Daly, how everyone, it seemed like everyone was made to believe that their role, whatever it was just as important as the next man's role. Like John Sally, for all his rebounding and shot blocking, it was made to look at as it was just as important as Joe Dumars's or Isaiah Thomas's playmaking ability. And I see that in this Golden State team. Like Sean Livingston, when he's in the game, he might as well be Steph Curry. Or when Andre Iguodala comes in the game, he might as well be Draymond Green. There's not a whole lot of the attitude doesn't seem to be different between the 7th or 8th man off the bench and the league's MVP, the league's back-to-back MVP. Am I kind of hitting that assessment in the right areas?
Yeah, you're right. It's just a testament to how this team was built in the front office and what Bob Myers, general manager, and Steve Kerr, the way that the makeup of this roster was what, they really focused on that. And honestly, with strength in numbers, yes, it sounds kind of lame at times. You keep hearing it. It's really, you saw it in action last night, and the depth of this bench, even down to, your 13th guy is, really big. And I look forward to seeing kind of what they're able to do when they're at full strength, when Curry finally gets it going, because at some point in the series it's going to happen. And the Western Conference Finals, in my opinion, just with the way that we've heard kind of LeBron talk about, today it just kind of felt like a defeatist mentality. And yesterday was the same thing. This Cavs team is in trouble when Leandro Barbosa is beating you. That's a serious issue for this team, and they're playing ISO ball. I understand, with Kyrie Irving, he's not always going to get his outside shot, but there's so much isolation game, and it's bad basketball. That's not how you win championships. It's throw me the rock and watch what I do with it. Like, that's not how you win games against the Warriors team. And I mean, this is a team that defensively kills teams in transition. They met their match at Oklahoma City, and that's kind of why I think we're going to look back. And I said this even before, this year, that, or even before the finals or the playoffs started, that the Western Conference Finals, whether it was the Spurs or whether it was the Thunder, would be what we'd remember kind of as the finals.
Yeah.
The Eastern Conference is so weak. I'm sorry, without the Bulls being as good as they were, there's really not a whole ton of parity when it comes to the Eastern Conference. And the Cavs, I mean, this is LeBron's best shot to do it with the roster he has now before it gets blown up again. And I think they get one. I don't think it's a clean sweep, but I think they get one. I just don't think that it's going to be in. I don't think it's going to be in Golden State.
Wow, only one. She's Courtney Cronin, sports writer for the Bay Area News Group and the San Jose Mercury News. Make sure you guys are following her, as I do, at Courtney R. Cronin. That's spelled Cronin. Excuse me. I want to ask you about two of the players that you mentioned earlier, the Steph and Draymond dynamic. We always hear the Splash Brothers, Steph and Clay, but it almost, when you see these guys interact, outside looking in, you see these guys interact, it's almost like two alter egos of one another, and they always seem to me closer than any other two players on the team. Like Draymond is like the devil on this shoulder, and Steph is like the angel on this shoulder, but they kind of have that opposites attract moment. In covering the team, do you also notice that?
Yeah, I mean, those two they're polar opposite in personalities, and I think it's really cool, just the makeup of this group, how they're able to coexist on the same team, it's really cool how that works. When you take a look at what they both add, I mean, Draymond, he's not the best at any one thing, but he can do all five things very well.
Mm-hmm.
Steph is not the best defender, and Draymond said that last night. He said, he doesn't need to be the best defender. That's not his role. His role is offense, and I think that he's very much coming into his own this season of accepting that. Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, kind of snickering, saying about the whole, is he a good defender? The question he was asked. It's interesting. I mean, I think that he's incredibly athletic. We kind of dissected that earlier in the playoffs, just to show how athletic this guy really is. But, there's those two just balance so well off of each other. You would never probably think it, just, if you looked at it on paper, if you knew nothing about the team, but they're really, really good together.
Yeah, it comes through. I notice it a lot. Let's talk about the team as a whole. What is the life expectancy of this group? You know what I mean? Like, we're looking at a possible, like, you've already given them back-to-back championships, but what are we looking at here as far as the life expectancy?
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Andre Iguodala next year, with Harrison Barnes too. I mean, he's only making $4 million a year right now, and there's a good chance that another team's going to want to jump in on him. I wouldn't be surprised either if it's, if Los Angeles, he follows Luke Walton to L.A., that wouldn't surprise me at all. I think that Steph's the type of guy, too, that, and there are a lot of guys on the team, I think, that would take pay cuts to be able to continue winning championships or maybe not take a max deal. And that's really critical. You don't see that very often. I don't think it'll look way too much different next year, but you have to consider the possibility that Kevin Durant could potentially be in the Bay Area. He's a free agent soon, so it's going to be very interesting to see what the next few months are, and it's going to be a very big free agency period for the Warriors.
Are people really taking that seriously, the Kevin Durant to Golden State thing?
I think it was a little bit more serious a few months ago, but it's something you definitely can't count out right now. They're not focused on it. I mean, I don't think the Warriors will talk much about it at all. I mean, they've barely talked about the replacement for Luke Walton and just kind of what the assistant coach search is going to be like. But it's very intriguing to see. I think Kevin Durant's obviously the biggest story in free agency come July, so I'll be curious to see what happens with that.
You mentioned earlier, I want to rewind a little bit. You mentioned earlier the Cavs being in trouble because they didn't play, because Golden State didn't play their best game. There is an argument to say that the Cavs didn't play their best game either. And to kind of illuminate the point you made about Leandro Barbosa, and even Sean Livingston giving you 20 points. The fact of the matter is, I don't think you hang your hat on that, do you? You probably hang your hat on the fact that everything will kind of return to its mean, to its normal state. Clay and Steph will shoot better, and the Cavs probably won't miss as many shots close to the rim as they missed in the first game. What are your thoughts on that scenario playing out?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they played their best ball. They shot 38% from the field. They're one of the top shooting teams, and especially from three in the NBA. That was uncharacteristic. How much of that was just missed shots as opposed to the Warriors' defense? I think there was a bit of that. But they also, it just didn't seem like there was things clicking. I mean, J.R. Smith got 3 looks. Yeah. And that's a guy who needs 20 shots a game. He's running around chasing Steph, chasing Clay. I mean, I get that. That was good game plan to be able to salvage it for the Cavs, but going forward, it has to change, completely for Cleveland if they want to stay in this.
I think that was probably one of the bigger mistakes that they made as far as their defensive assignments and not allowing the game to dictate it. Having guys like LeBron chase Steph around. And I think Steph, in being as smart as he is, understood that to affect the game, he didn't need to hit the amount of shots that he's used to hitting, because what he was doing off the ball, the things that people don't really look at, the things that he was doing off of the ball was confusing the defensive assignments of the Cavaliers, which allowed guys like Sean Livingston to get into that mid-range area, guys like Andre Iguodala to get wide-open three-point shots and things of that nature. Going forward, let's assume that the Cavs make the adjustments that they need to make. What adjustments, because I think there still are some, what adjustments do the Golden State Warriors have to make?
Well, Cleveland's going to try to chase them off the three-point line. That's what Oklahoma City did. Mm-hmm. And that's to be expected. I think with Golden State, that game got close. It was a 1-point game. I think it was in either second or third quarter.
The third quarter, they took the lead.
Third quarter, and that's crazy to think. Like then they blew a 14-point. They blew a 14-point lead at one point. So it's to me that's kind of a point of concern. I think the game's won in transition. You saw so many offensive rebounds for Golden State that, if the Cavs are playing better defense, maybe those balls are not going in the Warriors' favor. So it'll be interesting to see. I think transition's a very underrated part of this game. Draymond Green said the same thing the other day. And it's going to really determine, if Kevin Love needs to play better, Kyrie Irving needs to play better. LeBron can't go ISO all the time. Mm-hmm. He's LeBron; he's going to. But we need to see. If you're a Cavs fan, you want to see something different from Kevin Love specifically.
And I think he accepted the challenge early, but I think the flow of the game and the way things started turning out, I think it kind of took Kevin Love out of the game as the game progressed. She's Courtney Cronin. Got a couple more minutes with her here, sports writer for the Bay Area News Group and the San Jose Mercury News. Follow her on Twitter at Courtney R. Cronin. I asked you earlier about the life expectancy of the team. Based on what we've seen out of Steph Curry early in his career and through these playoffs, and teams starting to more so try to beat him up a little bit. You mentioned his slight frame, and I'm a person who believes, and I talk about it all the time on my show, how greatness should be appreciated because it's certainly fleeting. It's not something that's sustained for a very, very long time in most cases. In the case of Steph Curry, he's had 2 amazing seasons, but there are still those physical limitations of him playing as much basketball as he's playing. How much, I'm kind of asking you to look into a crystal ball a little bit here, but how much longer do you see him maintaining this level? Because contrary to a lot of people's popular belief, he's not a young guy either. Steph is 27? He's like a year younger than LeBron.
He's 28.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 28. I think that he's got a long time ahead of him. Just with some of the injuries, the ankle has always kind of been his Achilles heel, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. I mean, his knee too. He needs rest. I mean, this series, this whole postseason has taken a lot out of him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be curious to see what kind of treatment, if he goes to Germany, if he gets what
Kobe.
It was either Sean Livingston or what Bogut got over the off season. I'll be curious to see how he makes his body feel better because I think he's got a very long career ahead of him. I mean, he's two-time MVP. Maybe it doesn't stop there. I mean, I'll be very curious to see what the off season brings because I don't think his knee. I don't think it's 100% clearly. I don't know. If we can really prove the whole. He was playing at 70% of the knee, anything like that. But he's certainly got a ways to go in the NBA. I think he's going to be around a while.
It's funny. Everybody was talking about the knee. I was kind of concerned that the elbow didn't get as much attention as it got because what happened, like the elbow swole up after he went into the crowd, which, by the way, shame. That was one of the most shameful exhibitions of fanhood that I've ever seen. Like, the franchise dude dives into the crowd and dudes are like tweeting about it and taking pictures of it. Meanwhile, he's got a softball coming out of his elbow. Now, they say they didn't have to drain it. It went down on its own. But I still have to believe in your shooting arm. He had a very good game that game, and I attribute that to adrenaline. But the next game, I would have to assume that there was some soreness and he didn't play that well. Why isn't anyone... why has the focus gone off of the elbow so quickly? Why had it gone off of the elbow so quickly?
I don't think it was much of a factor, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean, it came down on its own. That's just kind of the gist that we've gotten, that it never really bothered him all that much. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't exactly comfortable, but he seemed to manage that. That wasn't much of an issue.
And the last thing I got for you, and I appreciate your time, definitely, Courtney. If this series doesn't go the way you anticipated going, when you sit down to pen the article, the wrap-up article on this Golden State Warriors season, what are you writing about?
I mean, if the Warriors don't win a championship, we go back to the conversation of the 2007 Patriots, of the best teams to never win a championship. Obviously, 73-9 comes into question as, well, was it worth it? And then you have to take a look at the OKC series and be like, was it worth it? Because, they came back, and then, you come back from that. You go through a gauntlet, and then you don't win a championship. But, I mean, I think that people sometimes overblow that stuff. But
I do too.
It certainly will come into question. But you cannot, undervalue everything that they've done this year. And just the way that Adam Silver said it in his press conference yesterday, the way that this group has changed, both these teams, but specifically the Warriors, this is the best era of basketball for a lot of people.
Well, not for Charles Barkley.
Not for Charles Barkley.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Who have, a lot of people who just don't want to see that the game is changing.
Right.
But I think there's a lot that goes into it, and I tend to think I think the Warriors win at 6 personally. It's more as it goes down. You think that it could be 5. I'd like to be a little bit more confident and say it would be 6. It would be cool for the Warriors to win on their home floor, but I'm not not so surprised if that would happen. But I don't think it goes 7. So it'll be interesting to see at the end of the year, how they do it, because if they can get this out of the way and quickly, that's so much different narrative-wise than if this is a grinded-out series, because they clearly beat the Cavs with their own game yesterday and just made them look silly by, having their reserves, their 30-year-old reserves, crush the Cavs starting lineups. So it's very, it's very telling. I think Game 1 was telling. I think Game 2, hopefully there's not a hangover of just confidence. But I'll be curious to see how that goes.
There it is. Courtney, I appreciate you taking the time out to share the mic with me. It was very, very interesting, and we're going to definitely have to do it again real soon. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem.
It's the best of One Mic with Big Mike.
Oh, it's good.
On the line right now, sharing the mic for a couple of minutes. One of the toughest dudes to ever play in the NBA. He's an NBA champion. He's a 23 season. Jesus. NBA vet. Played for the Hawks, Heat, Warriors, Rockets, Raptors, Nuggets, Spurs, Mavs. Played for the Hawks and the Rockets twice. He loved it so good. Follow him on Twitter at Kevin Willis 42 on Twitter. Y'all give it up one time for the homie Kevin Willis. All right.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. I hadn't spoken with you in a long time. I'm sure you don't remember the last time we spoke, but just so happened it had to do with somebody putting their hands on somebody else in the NBA game. Just go figure, man. Right. First and foremost, I just mentioned 23 seasons in the NBA. You stopped playing at 44. How and why did you play so long?
Well, I give it to just the love for the game and the respect I have for the game and all the camaraderie that you have with your teammates and in the locker room and during our course of our travels and things like that. And then just my conditioning and training, and they're all blessed. But I count my blessings every day that I go out down that court or it's a practice or whatever I'm doing, because it can end in a matter of moments. Mm-hmm. I've been on that court, and I was just very fortunate, very blessed to be able to go that long.
Would it be fair for me to say that the Spurs, I mean, that's who you won your championship? Was that your favorite team to play on?
Well, it's my top team as far as, a team that where you had great guys and every cylinder was clicking from not only my teammates, but front office, ownership, fans, the people who clean and work the arenas, everybody was on one accord, and that was the most fascinating thing I've ever seen in my 20 years or 19 years of playing at that time, that everybody was on one page from outside the arena all the way until we got onto the court. And just a great coach, and Coach Pavlovich, and the great assistant coaches. I mean, you can't ask for a better combination.
You think this is it for Tim?
Some great teams in Atlanta. How hard it will always be with those teams in Atlanta when we first started out as rookies, and with Neek and Doc and Spud and Cliff and John Concack, Tree Rollins, John Battle, Randy Whitman, Scott Hastings. All these guys, man, were just amazing guys. We were young, we were athletic, but I can go on and on with teammates. But that's how we did it, and we love one another. Antoine Carr, I mean, we can go on and on.
Atlanta's Air Force.
Yes, sir.
How closely do you follow the league now?
I mean, I follow it still. I mean, every day. I mean, I follow it.
Okay, so
I learn something new every day.
So when Kevin Willis is watching the basketball game, are you watching like I'm watching as a fan, or are you watching like, man, if I was out there, like a former player would watch it?
I'm looking at it, man, if I was out there. The fan, I have my 2 or 3 top teams.
Who are they?
But top teams are, I love watching the Spurs.
Yeah.
I love watching Golden State.
Yeah.
I like how the Atlanta Hawks are playing now. They're playing with a sense of purpose and urgency. I like teams that play and move the ball and play defense. I mean, I don't too much care about the individual superstar stuff no more. Just that's not with me no more. It's all about team.
Now, you mentioned the superstar, and by the way, this is former NBA champion, or not former, he's still a champion. NBA champion Kevin Willis, he's a former NBA player, played for a gang of teams over 23 seasons. Make sure you guys follow him on Twitter at Kevin Willis 42. Kevin, you got to holler at my girl Renee, man. You hadn't tweeted since
Renee?
Yeah, but she'll hook your social media situation up, man. You hadn't tweeted since September.
I know it, man. I am so consumed. I would love to stay on top of. I'm usually diligent on doing stuff like that, but I'm so consumed with my business and my foundation, man, that it gets kind of hard. But my clothing is like, my passion. So I'm doing that every day, and we're gonna surprise a lot of people with what I'm about to drop. And it's going to be amazing. No doubt.
We're going to talk about that here in just a second, because people don't know Kevin Willis is all about that fashion game. You talk about the Atlanta Hawks, though. You talk about watching them closely. What's the next evolution for this team? It seems like as long as LeBron is in the East, the Hawks are in kind of this holding pattern right now, and there's like a missing ingredient. Do you know what it is?
Well, I think, I understand that hurdle, and you can't go over it, you can't go around it, you can't go through it because of that one or two individuals on that other East team.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to stay the course. You got to stay disciplined. You got to stay diligent. You got to keep working hard, and you have to add those one or two pieces every season that will eventually crack through. And with Popovich, we used to have this thing where he said every day you take that hammer and you hit that rock every day. It may not crack the first day, the second day, the third day, but every day you come in, you hit it. Eventually, you're gonna hit it one time, and the whole thing will crack in half. So the same thing you have to do with this is because they have the talent, they have the skill, they have the players to help them both ends, offensively and defensively, to overcome. But you have to mentally. That's where you get defeated at, mentally. And if you can overcome that hurdle, add a couple pieces. You definitely need a big man. You can't do it without a big man. I don't care what you do. You can shoot threes all day long, but threes go sour.
Well, Kevin, isn't the league changing though? Like the teams and the teams that are winning right now don't have the big man.
But like Steve Adams, for instance.
Okay.
Steve Adams ain't shooting no threes,
right?
But he controls that down there in that paint. Jordan out there with the Clippers.
DeAndre, yeah.
I mean, DeAndre Jordan is just out there blocking shots, rebounding, offensive rebounding, defense, running on the breaks, getting lobs, clogging up that middle. He ain't shooting no threes. So I don't really care about that the stretch fours and stretch fives. That's soft stretches. I call them soft. They're soft and stretched. That ain't nothing, man. But that's just me, man. I mean, you want to go down there and paint, man, and make it happen.
See, you want to bang with people.
Yeah, I want to bang, man, and go down low and punish. That's all.
While we're there, you mentioned shoot the three ball and not having a big man. Give me your impressions on the NBA Finals so far as we move towards Game 5 in Oakland tonight.
Well, it started out as like Golden State was just going to go ahead and go with it, but LeBron and company came back and got that game in Cleveland, and but Golden State is they got too much firepower.
It's a machine, my man.
The bench is just amazing, and they know what to do when one guy's not going, from the Splash Brothers, or if they're struggling. That bench is amazing. It's like they got a switch. And when they cut on, and it's hard to stop it. And they're disciplined. They move the ball, and they're not a selfish team. They don't get on each other like that. You got your vocal, from Draymond, but that's just his personality.
Yeah.
And I can respect that. You need that type of guy on your team, but everybody respects him. So it looks like now with this 3-1 and Draymond being out tonight. I told people today at the gym. They were asking me about it. I'm like, watch the bench tonight. They don't make up for that. Just like when Steph went out. Them guys came in, man, and they went to work. So they're not gonna miss a beat, believe me.
The other voice you're hearing is NBA champion and former Atlanta Hawk, as well as some other teams, but I'm here in Atlanta, so he's an Atlanta Hawk. His name is Kevin Willis. Follow him on Twitter, and he says he's coming with some stuff. So he's at Kevin Willis 42 on Twitter. You talk about Draymond. The first thing I want to know from you is, okay, let's kind of set the scene for the people. In Game 4, during the fourth quarter, him and LeBron got into a little tangle. Ended up with some exchanging of words and a little nut shot or whatnot. After LeBron then wiped his whole joint on this man's back of his head. Do you think Draymond should have been suspended for Game 5 for what happened?
I don't think he should have been suspended, and that's just player to player. That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Both guys were tangled up, and personally, I thought LeBron wanted to get him rattled, and once you get him rattled, and you get in his head a little bit, and he's not going to back down. He was sparked, so he's not going to back down.
Well, there's that.
But he has to know when and when not to. It's that maturity now, because you guys understand everybody on just watching, everybody in the arena knows one technical, that's all you need to get him out the game. So that's when Draymond needs to. So you know what? They're going to try to get me rattled. They're going to try to do whatever they can do to get under my skin. And he should, he has to be mature. He has to say, you know what? I'll be prepared for that. But I didn't think or saw anything that was like flagrant or something where he would have been thrown out. By no means. Not now.
A guy that you did plenty of battles with, Michael Thompson, had a bunch of words about LeBron. He mentioned LeBron acts way too entitled. He said he cries a lot. He also said he would not be able to survive in the 80s. Now, we just talked about Draymond. Now let's talk about LeBron. Is Michael Thompson right?
Michael, he has some good points because in the 80s and 90s, you had true centers, true big men, and true power forwards.
Yeah.
So to have a 6'8" and a 6'9" small forward and a power forward, and then a 7'1" or 7'2" center down there that stayed in the paint all the time that could play, not just coming there and just got a big wide body. Guys that could play on the offensive end, defensive end, and knock the what out of you if you come up in there. So all that driving and all that dunking, all that stuff would have been sort of on a they would have sort of doctored that up. That would have been, you come in there once or twice, okay, for that third and fourth time, we're going to make you think about it. At least I know I would have made you think about
Absolutely.
it. Absolutely. But now you can't touch anybody. That's the way the game is played now. But all my colleagues, my boys, the power forwards I went up against, when we talked, we had that conversation all the time. What would have happened if such and such would have drove in? What would happen if he would have came in there? He came in there once or twice. So Westbrook would have came in there. Brown would have came in there. KD would have came through there a couple of times. Yeah, for sure. But you're going to get knocked down just like Reggie Miller's come through there.
Yeah.
Every time he comes through, he's going to get clocked. But some guys got that dog in them and that heart in them. They don't care about that. Like Iverson. Iverson come through there, man. I don't care who's in there. But that's certain individuals. Not everybody's built like that.
Now, you talk about what would have happened to guys driving to a hole. Let's put you in Draymond's shoes. You and LeBron are tied up. You end up on the ground, and LeBron just rubs his whole joint, like right on the back of your head. Like Draymond kind of flailed at him a little bit. What is young people? I don't think people understand. Like if you, let's say, if you're 30 and under, you may not understand what Kevin Willis is and what Kevin Willis looked like. Picture Dwight Howard, but not a child. A grown man Dwight Howard is what I'm telling you about Kevin Willis back in the day. Mm-hmm. How does that kid handle what LeBron did to Draymond?
Well, it's happened. It's happened in my era, in the 80s and 90s too, when a guy gets a dunk and he got all this stuff in your head or trying to do whatever. But you get him back at a different time. You get him back. You pick your times when you're gonna get him. And then tell him don't try not to come in there with that again like that. Then he got the message. It's not going to happen again. So you have to pick your moments. You have to pick your times, and you do it. Like when I was Draymond's age in the league, I get technicals and thrown out or get into it there on the court.
You used to put your hands on people, Kevin.
Yeah, you can do it then. But I gave the respect to the guys, and I earned the respect from my peers. And once you get that respect, guys know who to mess with and who not to do that to. Put it like that. Some guys you just don't want to mess with. And for the guys who thought they wanted to sort of test it, the test was over real quick.
He's Kevin Willis, and you hear that. It was over quick. NBA champion with the Spurs, but long-time Atlanta Hawk right here in my fair city. Follow him on Twitter at Kevin Willis42. Klay Thompson, Michael's son, he talked about LeBron probably getting his feelings hurt because the real issue, the issue became Draymond trying to hit LeBron in the nuts. That became the issue. But the issue on the court, you could see LeBron mouthing it like he called me a bitch. He called me a bitch. Has Kevin Willis ever got his feelings hurt on the court from something somebody said to him? Like what's the worst thing in the 80s? And you can say it on my show. What's the worst thing someone you heard or you said to someone, and who was it during the 80s and 90s?
We may call somebody stop crying like a bitch, or we may say something like stop flopping like a female or something like that, and then we would and I'll tell Pat in a minute that okay, I tell the referee, I'll give his ass something to flop about next time he comes down.
You told the referee that?
Yeah, I told the referee that. I'm going to give him something to flop about. So I'm telling the ref that he's flopping, and they're not doing that. And I say, well, I'll straighten it out. There's no problem. I will definitely straighten out. So I'll take that foul, but I'm going to straighten it out. And now the ref's eyes are all over me, trying to make sure that I don't lose control. But I get a cat eventually. I'll get him eventually.
Oh.
And it's nothing where it's dirty. It's just I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna get you. I'll put something on his mind. That's all. On
that same note, like nowadays, like there are a million cameras, Kevin. There's cameras everywhere. There's Ultra HD and all this kind of things. I'm sure when you and Barkley and Oakley and Rick Mahorn and them boys and Sean Kemp and them was playing back then, I'm sure it was some ill stuff happening that if it happened today, it would probably break the internet. Am I right?
Yeah, it probably would. I mean, because it was crazy, and they can catch some stuff, but they couldn't get everything.
Right.
And but we were smart. I had to be taught how to do it. From the Barkleys and from the Karl Malones and Moses. I was taught how to do it, and then you pick your moments, you pick the time. You may not get them that game, but the next game, you know what time it is. You don't forget. And but it's all in love with the game. It's nothing personal. It's nothing personal. It's just that we have to rectify. You have to I'm an enforcer on the Hawks, so it's like I'm an enforcer. Oakley was an enforcer on New York, in Chicago, enforcer in Karl Malone, Utah. So you have your enforcers, Thorpe, in Houston. I mean, you go Buck Williams. You have all these guys that are enforcers, man, and Barkley for Philly, enforcer, man. So you know what? Let's enforce, and then all of us, we have our respect for one another. But even time to time, we would even get tangled up.
Yeah.
Get into it.
Oh, yeah.
But that's how we got down. Then we go to dinner afterwards. It's all good.
He's Kevin Willis, former Atlanta Hawk and NBA champion with the Spurs. What was that, Kevin, in 03? That 03 team?
03, yeah.
03.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you mentioned earlier, everything you got going on with your fashion stuff. I don't think a lot of people know how entrenched in the NBA fashion game you are. Like my man, Sam Mitchell, used to work with Sam Mitchell over at the local CBS. He's like, yeah, man, I got to go down here and holler at my man Kevin. Kevin the only one make the pants for us. It's 6'11" dude.
Yeah.
Like if you 6'3" and under, don't even holler at Kevin Willis. You gotta be one of them trees. But tell us what you got coming up with the clothing line. And
the company is Willis and Walker, and I'm doing some amazing stuff.
Is there a website, Kevin?
We're building it out right now, and it's going to be amazing.
Okay.
As we speak, it's being done. We broke it down. We got some new stuff, content, and everything going in, and it's primarily for men who are 6'2" and above. That it's hard to fit. It's not big and tall. It's not like you see in the DXL stores and all that nonsense. This is fashion. This is real fashion stuff that can sit next to Zanier, Prada, Kelvin, all these people. This is the quality and make and styling of my collections, and it's hands on with me every day. I'm in the office every day, unless I'm out of town, obviously. But this is my passion. I've been doing it for 29 years, and I actually do it in my sleep.
How'd you get into it?
I studied fashion textiles in college. That was my major.
Okay.
So this is not me. A lot of guys, they want to get into it, they like it and whatnot, but if you're not passionate about it, if you don't study your craft, you're going to lose it because you're going to get tired, you'll get frustrated. It's not happening fast enough. So you figure, well, I'm going to do something else. Well, that's not the case with me. Mine is every day. It's the passion, and every day I go in and do my thing, and I leave and go with the same joy that I have every single day. And it's not work, and this is what I do, and I do an amazing job with it. And I'm currently we're putting a big collection together for stores like Saks. We're putting a big collection together for Dillard's department stores all over the country. So Dillard's is going to be an amazing for fall. There's going to be some amazing pieces. So the guys who want to go out and it's definitely affordable. You're looking at denim, you're looking at woven shirts, you're looking at knits, you're looking at really nice fitting clothes for men who are taller. We want to have that correct and proper fit and fashion.
Sounds like, I hear the passion in you. Sounds like a man who played 23 years in the NBA and did something that he loved for 23 years and now doing something else he loved. When you see guys like Russell Westbrook, speaking of the fashion, when you see guys like Russell Westbrook, what is your reaction to some of the get-ups that he shows up to the arena in?
Well, Russ is, he's doing his thing, man. I mean, I ain't mad. I know he's not, that designer guy, but I think he's passionate about clothing. He likes dressing. He likes making a statement. He's on the perfect stage. The timing of fashion for this generation of guys is huge. Back in '92 and the early '90s, GQ had the NBA's best dressed team, and I was part of that. Me, Magic, Jordan, all of Gerald Wilkins, Reggie Theus, we were all part of that, and Karl Malone. We were all part of that best dressed team, and it was for real. But now it's not like that. Now everybody wants to be the best dressed guy. Everybody wants to see who can be the fanciest or the wildest looking. So when West does his thing, I get it, but that's just that generation, and that's that fashion that's out there right now, and it's what's happening. Period. And I do my certain style and look, but I also have to stay mindful that you have to also incorporate what's going on today, with today's generation, today's youth, the day how fashion is. You have to incorporate that in what you're doing to stay relevant, stay ahead of the curve, and that's what we do. And it's amazing.
We've got a couple more minutes here with NBA champion Kevin Willis. I would be remiss. You mentioned earlier Draymond Green is a Spartan, as are you. Grew up in the Detroit area, went to high school up there. And I want to make sure I always do this. I've had TJ Duckett on the show, some other people from the area, and I want to make sure I give you an opportunity to speak on the Flint water crisis if you want to, man, because it's something that I look at and I'm following and trying to pay attention to as much as I can. And for somebody like you who spent a lot of time in that area, I definitely want to extend the forum to you to speak on that situation.
Well, as a Michigan guy, you always want to be supportive and do something for where basically where you come from in that area. And the situation, man, it's absolutely terrible with that water situation and donating millions and millions of gallons of water to that area, that region of Flint, to help these young families, these kids that's, they're suffering. I mean, older adults aren't going to feel the same effect as young kids.
Right.
And it's really, really bad. All the lead and all this junk that's in this water, the mercury and all this crap that's in there. But, I try to, with the Players Association, we plan on going to Flint, and at that time they were talking about taking more water. And I understand they don't need no more water. They need to fix the problem.
Right.
And, get that water from where it's coming from, get out of there and go back into, I think it was Lake Michigan or somewhere. They need to get back in or wherever they need to get it from. But that stuff it's all about the money, man, how they can make more money or they have to pay as much. I don't know what it is, but it's bananas and it's crazy, and that goes to show you that they don't care about these families and these young people, man. It's like let's take it over here in the Huron Lake or whatever where they pull it from. It's just crazy, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's Kevin Willis. Kevin, the last time I spoke with you, I said the same thing, man. I appreciate you being so gracious with your time and just giving us a trip back down memory lane. For guys like me, I'm 39 years old, so I grew up watching you and Dominique and Spud and Doc and Antoine Carr and Tree Rollins and those guys, man. So I appreciate you, as always, coming on the show. Y'all make sure y'all be on the lookout for, is Willis and Walker?
Yes, Willis and Walker.
Y'all make sure y'all be on the lookout for Willis and Walker, the website coming soon. Kevin, I appreciate it, my man. Thank you.
No doubt, man. God bless.
It's the best of One Mic with Big Mike.
You ain't gonna believe this shit. Check this out.
We're going to talk some ball, man, with a real baller. My man Kenny Anderson, caught up with him. He's a former college basketball great. Not a former. He's still a college basketball great. Playing out of Georgia Tech, second overall pick by the New Jersey Nets way back in 1991. Let's see, I was 91. What was I? 13? Yeah, 13. He's a Hall of Famer. New York City Basketball Hall of Famer. Make sure you guys are following him. Make sure you definitely are following him at Chibbs, Chibb, BBS_1 on Twitter, because at the end of the interview, we're going to have a little surprise for you guys. And check out the website, MrChibs.com, for all the merchandise. The Mr. Chibs, I got a beanie. Apparently, my man Barry says he got me a T-shirt coming, so I'm about to be Mr. Chibs down. Last time we talked, Kenny, we spent a lot of time talking about the documentary, man. Mr. Chibs,
Yeah.
Basketball is Easy, Life is Hard, directed, written and produced by Jill Campbell, executive produced by Barry Greenstein. Look, man, you got me waiting on this documentary, man. What's going on?
Man, I got everybody waiting. I'm so excited, to tell my story, get my story out there. Got some great people. Barry Greenstein involved in it with BMG Brokers, and Jill Campbell was just an awesome director who knows her stuff, and got the big time editor. That's what happened. We got the big time editor involved, Paul Lovelacy, who's been on the circuit for many years. He's doing some other stuff with Jon Stewart on his documentary. So it had some legal stuff that I had to go, get over, and I did that. So we pushed it back a little bit, but we got to tighten everything up. So, I'm excited about the people involved because it's going to be a great production. It really is. And, I'm going to tell my story. It needs to be told, being that I was a child prodigy at 10 years old growing up in New York and being, the number one recruit throughout my high school career and going to college and then going to the pros and just telling my whole life story. It's very, very inspirational and touching for me.
Word. Now, I'm a big documentary guy, man. I don't know. Did you check out the the OJ situation last week? The 30 for 30 OJ.
I want to watch it. I've been my schedule's been crazy, man. And I'm not a big TV guy. I've been in and out traveling, but I'm trying to catch it, But I'll probably have to catch it, on the back end.
Hey, it's worth the watch, my man. It is definitely worth the watch. Let's talk about some basketball, man. The NBA Finals wrapped up yesterday after 52 years. The Cleveland Cavaliers now have their own championship, courtesy of one LeBron James. Give me your overall assessment on the finals themselves.
Man, I wasn't really thrilled about the finals.
Yeah, me neither.
Went down. I really wasn't. Game seven was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
But there's many more. Game 7 and finals was way better than that, in my opinion.
Right.
But I take my hat off to LeBron James. He came back to Cleveland, his hometown, his roots, and brought them a championship. So that's just amazing. He went back there for a cause and got it done. So, he is that guy. But on the other end, Golden State Warriors, the ultimate choke. They choked up 3-1, won 73 games this year.
Yeah.
And that means nothing right now. It means absolutely nothing.
You
to
think,
me, it doesn't.
You think it just wipes out the 73?
Yeah, you write that off. Because what you say, when you get older, if they don't win another championship, say, hey, they got one championship, and I'm with my son, down the road, Terry's with his kids and whatever. Say, hey, you remember that year we won 73 games? We didn't win the championship, and we only remember champions.
Oh.
So it don't even sound right. Just say, we was history team, we won 73 games. But, you won 73 that year. But who won the championship? Oh, the Cleveland Cavaliers beat us in 7. It just don't sound right. It just don't sound right. And it's not even going to be talked about. That's over with. The storyline is LeBron James came back to Cleveland after all of their sayers, Miami Heat, nobody thought he could get it done, and he brought Cleveland the championship.
Yeah.
So that's the story. Nobody cares about 73 wins in the regular season.
That's real talk.
You had to win the championship.
He's college basketball great, Kenny Anderson, second overall pick by the New Jersey Nets in 1991. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Chibs, CHIBBS_1. And go to the website. I got to make sure Barry scolded me last time because my dumb ass was saying Chibs.com instead of it's MrChibs.com. Go there. You get the insight on the documentary. You also get a chance to cop yourself some Mr. Chibs gear. I want to talk specifically with you. This is why I called Barry. I reached out to Barry about you because at the beginning when the matchups were set, I was like, hell yeah, we about to see some real point guards get busy. Now you're a man who's been known to do some point guarding in your day. How would you assess the point guard play? I mean, Steph didn't really give me what I wanted, and Kyrie probably gave me more. But what do you think?
Exactly. Kyrie won the battle. team won the championship. He balled out. You know, he could have easily been, a co-MVP. He could have went, Kyrie Irving and LeBron James MVP because he played big in closing Game 7, and he played big in Game 5, which was also when they both scored 41 points. So that goes off to Kyrie Irving. He's a New Jersey metropolitan kid. I'm happy for him. But on the other side, the two-time MVP, Steph Curry, just didn't have it.
Yeah.
Just didn't have it. Just didn't have it this series tonight. He had to go up against Russell Westbrook in 7, and he went against Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie Irving is a different type of animal because he could, he'd break you down.
And he's strong, man. Kenny, that dude finished at the rim like nobody, man.
Yeah, like nobody. Finishes at the rim, finishes off, off one leg, wrong foot, left, right, jumper, handle. He just was giving it to Steph Curry, and it was very tough. And sometimes that's the best offense. The best defense is offense. And he kept giving it to us, going at Steph Curry.
Kenny,
he won the battle.
Why they ain't help him? Like, they kept putting him in these pick and rolls that had him switching on either LeBron or on Kyrie. But nobody ever went to help the dude to get the ball out them dudes' hand. Why didn't that happen?
Yeah, I'm not sure. They just, they guarded him. They thought they could outscore the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think a lot of else people thought so also.
Yeah.
But they wasn't leaving him on that island by himself, and he had to hell it. That's what how they played it. They switched and they said, "Hey, you gotta defend." And I think he was exposed a little bit more. He was exposed early in the Thunder series, but then he was exposed again, in the finals. So now, and I said it. The defense on Steph Curry is offensively. You got to have another point guard that can just go at him on a constant. And he got in foul trouble each game somewhat. Really could never get in the flow of things because I just think he had to guard, Kyrie Irving, and then when he switched on to LeBron, it was just too much for him defensively.
And he's a shooter, man, so it's going to take his legs from him. You mentioned the foul trouble. We saw Steph kind of lose his religion a little bit. He dropped a couple BSs through the mouthpiece. I was curious to see, had Kenny Anderson ever been thrown out of a game? And I found once. What happened, my man?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
You don't remember?
I've been many nights. I got a lot of texts, in my career because a lot of referees, I saw it in the NBA. They be cheating sometimes. You know what I mean? And I just get real frustrated, and I let them know. And and I think all players in the heat of the moment do things and say things that they wouldn't normally do, but in the heat of the battle, it happened. So, I got a lot of texts in my career. I don't remember about getting thrown out.
I saw one on ESPN Stat Tracker. He's a college basketball great, out of Georgia Tech, Kenny Anderson. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Chibbs, CHIBBS_1, and check out the website, MrChibbs.com. We got the documentary, Mr. Chibbs, Basketball is Easy, Life is Hard, coming soon. So y'all, keep your ears up for that. I want to talk to you about something that you just mentioned. You said you felt like your words were that sometimes the referees were cheating. Now that came to be kind of a narrative attached to this series where Steph's wifey was talking about she saw the rigging, and everybody's talking about the game being rigged. Like, as a player, how serious now? Out of the moment, you're not playing anymore. You haven't for a while. So out of the moment now, as a spectator, how real is that concern, or should that concern be for fans?
I think it's real, man. Believe me, I do. Now that I'm a fan, I see it. It goes to the series. Game 5, they suspend Draymond Green. Why are they doing it right now at that time? And basically, it's a business. More games, more better.
Yeah.
Everything was, they couldn't get no more out of game. The money and everything. It was great. It was Game 7, the most historically watched, finals ever. You know what I mean? So they won that case. They won that far as the business side of it. But I believe so. And not outright cheating, but why you didn't suspend Draymond Green in the Oklahoma City case when he kicked Adams? That looked a little more intense than this LeBron James thing. They know Game 5, it's over. Cleveland won the championship. But come on, I wonder if Draymond Green never got suspended, they up 3-1, and they had their whole team. How would they come out and perform?
Do you think the series turned on that suspension? Do you think that kind of turned?
Game 5 was Game 5 was the turning point of the series. They had to take care of business, and they couldn't take care of business without Draymond Green. That's one of their focal points. Not only focal point offensively, not forget offensively, but the anchor on defense. And you remember that game, Kyrie Irving had 41 and LeBron had 41, and they were just taking advantage in the paint.
Nobody could stop the bleeding.
He's a great helper. He was a great helper. He's the greatest team defensive player in the league. He helps and recovers and he blocks shots and he comes over. And they didn't have that. So, yes, I believe, not outright cheating, but there's cheating somewhat.
Just
because they want those 7 games.
Yeah.
They need that's more money. If it goes 5, they lose out on tons of millions of dollars. They make the extra 2 games. You make a lot more money.
So not to put words in your mouth, but so not necessarily the outcome. NBA don't care about the outcome, but they just want the games, is what you're saying.
Exactly. They need that extra game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because of and if I was a business and I was in that office, corporate office with all the people that run it, I would want that game, them 2 games too.
Yeah.
I would want it to go 7.
Yeah, you already sold the commercials. The commercials are already sold, so
money.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You talked about Steph not having it. And the question that came to my mind, all year long, man, I loved watching those dudes play basketball, man. And I saw something so crazy the other day. I don't know. I saw the Allen Iverson documentary, and I saw Steve Smith, who was doing the interview. He asked Allen Iverson who he most thought was like him, and then Steve Smith compared Allen Iverson to Russell Westbrook, the heart and the competitiveness. Yeah. And then Allen Iverson, he said Steph Curry's name, and that dude just got giddy and he started smiling like a kid talking about Steph Curry. What I wonder after seeing this playoffs and after the injury, have we seen the very best of Steph Curry? Like the version of Steph Curry we see next year and the year after that, will it become a situation where he's good, maybe at times very good, but never great again? Because I totally believe that greatness is fleeting, and only that top tier of player, the LeBron, the Magic, the Michael, do it for those long stretches. What do you think about that?
I think he's going to be great. I think this is good for him. Sometimes failure is good. Mm-hmm. He comes from a great family. Dell Curry, I played with his father in Charlotte. I think and the way he came up, the way he's gotten to this point is about hard work ethic, and he'll come back stronger next year. I think he just had one of those, both of those series. He just went up against some great guards.
Yeah, man.
And that's in the league, with Russell Westbrook and Kyrie Irving. Those are just great guards, and he had to be on his game, and he just wasn't. But I think that was the eye-opener to him. He's going to go back into the gym. He's going to work extremely hard. He's just a great kid, a great young man, and very humble. And, I was pulling for him. I was pulling for Curry to win it again, because one, they had a great a historic season, winning 73 games and not winning the championship. That sucks. It doesn't go together, now that they lost.
Talking right now with Kenny Anderson for a few more minutes. Follow him at Chibs_1 on Twitter and Instagram, and check out his website, MrChibs.com. You just mentioned it. Winning all those games, and this is a repeat trip to the finals for them. That's a lot of basketball games. Now, in 01-02, you guys went, that Celtics team that you were on with Paul Pierce and some of those guys, you guys went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Give me some perspective on what that grind is like, that 82-game season, and then having that emotional and physical uptick in the playoffs and trying to find your way to an NBA Finals and possibly winning an NBA championship.
A lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure. Game to game gets tougher and tougher. But I wish I was in more of those situations. Mm-hmm. I wish that I played the Game 7 and was really competing for a championship as far as with the ring. But it's the ultimate though. But it's hard. It's not easy. So you got to win it. You have to go through some great teams, some great battles. Out of adversity comes your way throughout the playoffs. You got to hold your emotions He just builds character, man. It's just an awesome thing to be in the NBA Finals and to take it all the way.
Side note from that, I was just looking at what the matchup was and who you guys were playing. You guys were playing the New Jersey Nets, and ladies and gentlemen, that is a thing. They weren't always in Brooklyn for you young kids. And I ran across a young Richard Jefferson's name. Richard Jefferson just retired. How in the hell is this dude kind of bookending the career, going to the finals with Jersey and losing, and now he said he's calling it quits now finally winning the championship against the Warriors. Do you have any memories of playing in that series against Richard Jefferson?
No, I thought he was great. Him, Kenyon Martin, Jefferson, Kenyon Martin, and Kidd. They had a great trio there. He has a great career. He's topped it off winning a championship. I give love to a lot of those veterans who keep, apparently, he kept his body in great shape.
Yeah.
He's in shape to play. He's able, and signing those contracts with great teams that have great star power where he could just fit in. He went to the Warriors. He went Warriors first early, later in his career. He was with the Warriors. Then he went to San Antonio, and now he's with LeBron James. So he fit right in. He did a great job when they called on him, and he deserved. He got a ring, and now he can finish. Getting a championship ring. But he was a great in his younger days. Boy, could he really jump?
Yeah,
and he was a great slasher, great athleticism. Man. Richard Jefferson had a great career.
Give me your coach's eye on something real quick. The two coaches, like last year, Steve Kerr got a lot of credit, and I gave him a lot of credit for the adjustments he made, the stuff with Andre Iguodala during the series. And this series this year, it seems like Tyronn Lue was the one who pushed all the right buttons. I don't know if it happened accidentally when Kevin Love went out and he had to make certain changes, or it was some certain things that were conscientiously done, like we talked about earlier. Keeping Steph Curry in the pick and roll. He found out in the previous series that be physical with Steph Curry, and not only were they being physical when he was running off picks on offense, but on defense, getting him in those pick and rolls, getting him in foul trouble. I saw Steve Kerr go to the pick and roll, to the Clay and Steph pick and roll, which was causing some confusion with the Cavaliers, but he kind of went away from it, and I didn't see it much anymore. From a coach's perspective, a guy who coaches basketball and played a hell of a lot of it, what did you see X's and O's wise from those two guys that made a difference in this series?
Well, Steve Kerr hands was tied in Game 5 when he lost Draymond Green. Mm-hmm. So now his lineup is different. You got to play different guys. Then Andrew Bogut goes down, so his lineup, his rotations was all out of whack. You know what I mean? But I think Tyronn Lue did a hell of a job motivating those guys, getting those guys to play, and pushing the right buttons. Now, not going with the Kevin Love, who was one of the trios. He had to say, hey, you know what? This is about winning. Yeah. So he knocked off some of Kevin Love's minutes and put other guys in his spot that played well. He had Christian Thompson, and this was just the ultimate that I saw. I said, these guys are really early in the game. The finals, Game 7. Christian Thompson switched out on Curry and was guarding his guy. Doing the best he can, lateral and all of that. I said, they're going to win the championship.
Dude, that's what made me think.
This was amazing.
I thought Steph was hurt.
They figured it out. No, they figured it out. Now, he had a couple of shots over Christian Thompson, but it didn't really matter. He didn't panic because he was moving his feet. Yeah. And I think Tyronn Lue said that. Let's switch out on him, and you stay on him, and just make it, tough for him to finish over you. And they did that, and this guy was amazing. Christian Thompson stepped up defensive. And then another thing on that note, I have to give my credit to LeBron James, making some awesome blocks late in Game 7.
Yes.
His defense is on point, yo. This guy, he just was determined to win that Game 7. Defensively, offensively, just everything he did, he made the right choices. And, with the help of his teammates, J.R. Smith, timely threes, Tristan Thompson, just killing the ball, just playing defense.
Effort guy.
They were just determined to win.
He's former college basketball great Kenny Anderson. Join me for a few more minutes. Make sure you guys are following him on Twitter and Instagram at Chibs_1. And please make sure you go to the website, man, MrChibs.com, and get all the information on the documentary that's coming out. Mr. Chibs, basketball is easy, life is hard. It's, you know, from the last time we talked, Kenny, you dropped some nuggets on me about, you know, the things that you went through in life. And I'm very excited to see it when it comes out. Also, at the end of this interview, the first listener to tweet MrChibs.com at Chibs_1 and follow and DM at BM6894. Check this out. You get a free Mr. Chibs t-shirt. You can't beat that with a damn bat. As we wrap things up here, Kenny, you talk about LeBron. I hear the way you talk about LeBron. It's the way I talk about LeBron. Yeah. Like, I don't think cats understand, Kenny, that this ain't something that you're going to see again no time soon. And the people love to try to do the Michael Jordan comparison. Like, where are you at with that whole conversation?
Well, me, I'm not, you know, I respect Michael Jordan. He's the best. Yeah. He's going to be the best for me. But they're totally different. This guy, LeBron James, gets it. And I'm not even off the court, on the court. Mm-hmm. He's a great role model. All the hate is not necessary. You can't. There's no hate no more. This guy is the real deal. He's been the real deal. You know what I mean? So my hat goes up to him. And he's all about his community. He's all about Ohio, where he's from, the roots. And you can only give praise to someone that gives back as much as he's giving back to this place, Cleveland. You know, and he took it a notch further by going back and bringing home a championship. The Cleveland suffered for 50-something years, never been a winning franchise in Cleveland. And he left something great in Miami to go back to his roots and win a championship. To me, it's awesome. He's God in Cleveland. He probably could do no wrong in Cleveland. He's God. State of Ohio. He's God. And
this is what I try to tell people, Kenny. Like, if you look throughout history, when you start talking about, like, this is Kobe's championship or this is Shaq's or this is Michael Jordan's championship, this is actually LeBron's championship. He built the team. He got the coach that he didn't want out the way, got the coach that he wanted in the way. This is actually, Kenny, his team, my man.
Yeah. What more could you say? That Jay-Z joint. You know, that's what more could you say about, you know, LeBron James, man? What more could you say? There's nothing you can say. You know, I was rooting for Golden State to win it, but he's one of my favorite players, LeBron James. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't knocking it. I just didn't think they had enough, and he proved me wrong. And the guys, Kyrie Irving, J.R. Smith, Tristan Thompson, they stepped up. They stepped up and played a winning basketball. But he's the guy, and I'm just talking about not so much basketball, but just everything he has done for the state of Ohio and Cleveland Cavaliers by coming back, and like you said, constructing the team, doing all the right things, and everybody criticizing him like, that's his team. Yes, that's his team, and he's a world champion. Yeah. He did it his way and got it done. So what more could you say? And
the risk, because if it fails, all hell gonna come down on him. If it fails,
yeah, exactly. He's the truth, man. He's definitely the truth.
Last thing I want to talk to you about, Kenny, just real briefly. We got an NBA draft on Thursday coming up. Talking about two kids, the kid out of Duke and the kid out of LSU. One of these dudes is going to end up in Philadelphia, my man. With the current state of that team, you were the second overall pick in your draft. Yeah. Young guy, like these two dudes are, young cat. How does young Kenny Anderson feel if on Thursday his name is called by that Philadelphia team, knowing what they've been doing over the last couple of years?
I don't know. I wouldn't care. I'm just like, hey, I arrived. You know, I arrived at the pinnacle of my career. My dreams is true. I'm in the NBA. Let's go. Let me battle. Let me improve myself, get better year to year. And I'll worry about that down the road. You know, because I think when you're a young player, you got to prove yourself first. You get your first contract. And you prove yourself, and then you get the big contract. And once you get the big contract, then it's about winning. You know what I'm saying? A few years in, then you're like, okay, I got the money, got everything together. I'm here. You know, now I'm getting better, you know, mentally, physically, you know. And then I go after the championship. But right now I'm trying to get in the NBA, fit in, stay in the NBA, see what I have to work on, and just enjoy myself. I'm able to take care of my family. I finished off my dream, by making it to the NBA. And down the road, then you start figuring it out. Like, okay, now I want to get a championship and go and win a championship. And let's see if you become a free agent or you can get traded to a better team. You worry about that down the road. But right now, you get in the league, figure it out, how you get better and how you stay in the league. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about for these young guys. If I was doing it over, I would be just like, hey, I don't care. I'm just going into even though the organization is down, maybe I could be the one to pick it up.
Yeah.
A real competitor thinks that way. Not, I'm going to a worse team. No, you're the reason why. You go there and make a difference. And that's what it's all about.
And there it is. He's the star of the upcoming documentary, Mr. Chibbs, Basketball is Easy, Life is Hard. Directed, written, and produced by Jill Campbell. Executive produced by Barry Greenstein. Kenny, I can't wait for it. He's also, by the way, he's a college basketball great and a New York City Basketball Hall of Famer. On Twitter and Instagram, he's at Chibbs_1. And the website is wide open, man. So you guys go check it out, MrChibbs.com. And again, for the first listener to tweet MrChibbs.com at Chibbs_1, and you must be following and DM. You have to be able to DM at BM6894 to get your very own free, for the free ski wee-ski, oski woski, Mr. Chibbs t-shirt. There it is. Kenny, as always, man, I appreciate your time and I appreciate you joining me, man.
Big Mike, man, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
It's the best of One Mike with Big Mike.
All right, now listen up. I don't want no trouble.
It's Ken Miller. He's the executive director at Call and Post. CallandPost.com is the website. Ohio's black news leader. Follow him on Twitter at @call_post on Twitter. So Ken, I guess after this we won't see a decision part 2, at least not this offseason. Is that a correct assessment?
Is there a what? Decision part 2?
We won't see a decision part 2 this offseason.
Oh, no. I don't think there was ever any question about that. LeBron James came home, and he came home for a reason that was bigger than winning an NBA championship, albeit this event, this climatic event, was without question, the biggest event in the history of all Cleveland and Northeast Ohio. But there will not be a decision part 2. LeBron James proved again that he is indeed the greatest basketball player in the world. The joke that Steph Curry was even being compared to him is laughable, considering that Steph Curry has done for 2 years what he's done for 13, and the monumental pressure that's been on LeBron James from the moment he was picked by the Cleveland Cavaliers 13 years ago is a kind of pressure that Michael Jordan didn't even see, because Michael Jordan was a third pick. Kobe was he was a double-digit pick when he came into the league. So the expectations on this guy was higher than any basketball player that was ever drafted to come in the NBA. And he can never really exceed everybody's expectations, and I don't even know if he can exceed his own expectations, because what he does is he puts his work ethic and he puts himself in a whole nother different stratosphere that none of us could even imagine. But I could tell you one thing, whatever LeBron James is, there isn't anything like him that we've ever seen, and he's pretty damn good.
Look, Ken, that's what I keep trying to tell people. Like, stop with the comparisons. Like, you can't compare a one of one. This has never been, and there's a good chance it'll never be again. It's only there, in my opinion, to be appreciated. Now, let's touch on something that you just mentioned, because I read the article in The Undefeated. And you talk about the bigger picture of LeBron coming back to Northeast Ohio. Let's talk about that real quick, because I don't think it's something that's explored enough. Like, people make these comparisons with Michael Jordan. But if you start going the man for the man, just outside the basketball court, because we understand greatness is within both of them, but the men and what LeBron James means to and what he adds to society, I think there's no comparison. Can you talk a little bit about what he came back for, other than basketball?
Absolutely isn't even any comparison whatsoever. Michael Jordan was born in Brooklyn, played basketball in North Carolina and Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
What is he giving to any of those communities outside of what he's accomplished in his basketball life?
Yeah, you're right.
I'll wait. LeBron James.
That's my line. Don't steal my line.
LeBron James. Here's the thing, and no one, you're not going to read this on ESPN. You're not going to read this on any other Sports Illustrated or any other magazine, but I'm going to say it.
Do it. Let's go.
Because I come from the foundation that LeBron James and Ty Lue come from. Single mom, raised in poverty, making more out of their life than what anybody imagined that they could. LeBron James, he didn't marry outside of his race. He not only married within his race, he married somebody from the same community that he grew up in. He has 3 kids by the woman that he grew up in. He came back to that community after being drafted and playing in the city near where he was raised and grew up at, to go to Miami, played in Miami for 4 years, won 2 championships, came back because what's most important to him, he couldn't do living in South Beach. It was important to him that his kids grew up in the same neighborhood and had the opportunity to go to the same schools in the same city he was raised in. I don't know a single professional athlete in this modern day and time that does that.
Wait, I got to stop you there. Now, wait, I got to stop you there, Ken, real quick. Ken, real quick. Now, you said his kids grow up in the same neighborhood as he. That's not true, is it? His kids, like.
Well, look, he lives in Akron.
But I've seen the apartment.
They're not growing up the way that he's grew up because they don't have to. He's worked hard enough to prevent that.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making. Yeah,
he doesn't have to. Yeah, he does. They don't have to. They will have something that LeBron James didn't have. They will have a mama and a daddy. An African-American kid growing up in this day and age, having a mother and a father, you cannot put a price on that. I never had that, Big Mike. My mama was my daddy and my mama.
He's Ken Miller.
I never had that. Ty Lue never had that.
Ken Miller, the executive editor, at Call and Post. CallAndPost.com is the website, Ohio's black news leader. He's at call_post on Twitter, so make sure you guys give him a follow, as I have. Let's talk about the other impact, of this win. I'm supposed to believe, I guess, because of what the narrative has been written, that the city of Cleveland deserves this. Convince me that that city deserves this, because I saw what happened, and I saw the vitriol that happened when he left, and far be it for me to ignore the fact that a lot of it, a good portion of it, was racially motivated. But now that he's back and he's doing the thing, and the championship is there, everyone's acting like that didn't happen. I heard multiple comments made that the people burning the jerseys, those were the minority. And I've talked to many people who grew up there, many people who cover the sport there, and have adamantly told me that's a lie. Most people felt the way.
Let me put it to you this way, Big Mike.
All right.
I actually wrote a piece on this. I grew up in South Central Los Angeles. I was born and raised in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. I followed UCLA basketball, USC football, the Lakers, the Dodgers, and the Los Angeles Rams. I grew up cherishing those sports teams. But those sports teams grew away from me. My neighbor who would go to a Dodger game with me and sit in the bleachers with me could no longer afford to go to a Dodger game with me. So now the fan base in Los Angeles is Jack Nicholson, superstars at basketball and football games. Los Angeles is an international city where no one really comes from Los Angeles, and they claim these sports teams. I've been in Cleveland, Ohio for 1 year, and I can tell you that when LeBron James cried and got on the floor at the Oracle Arena. When J.R. Smith was wailing profusely. When Ty Lue sat in his coaching seat with his head bowed, crying that there were hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people here in Northeast Ohio that shared the same feelings that they had. I've never been in a city to where a city and team have been connected with one another the way the people here in Northeast Ohio are connected to their sports teams, and particularly the Cleveland Cavaliers. LeBron James was their favorite son. They hurt when he left. They burned jerseys when he left. And when he came back, yes, they were happy for him to come back. But he had to do more than just come back. He had to give them something that they never had before.
See, I don't think so. Like I don't get that. I don't get that.
I do.
That feeling. I felt like coming back was all that he needed to do.
LeBron understands that. He embraced that. He embraced that when he came back. This city is as unique a city, and I've traveled throughout the country. I traveled with the Raiders for 13 years. I've traveled throughout the country to every major city. I know that Kansas City is as passionate a city about the Chiefs as there is. You know, I mean, there are cities that are passionate about their teams. But this is a city that you have to understand that was abandoned, hearts ripped out, guts ripped out, when the football team left in the middle of the night. That football team won 2 Super Bowls in Baltimore. Essentially, the Cleveland Browns gave the city of Baltimore 2 Super Bowl champions. This is what generations upon generations of Ohioans have had to deal with here in the Buckeye State. And here they have one of their own, born and raised, leaves. It hurts.
Yeah, I think all that is a fact of a matter. But why do they deserve it?
If your wife or your girlfriend left you and didn't leave you for a stranger, but left you for somebody that you knew,
okay, but then
you would be hurt too.
I understand the hurt part, but then do I deserve a supermodel because my wife left me? Like, because this attitude that the city of Cleveland deserves I think it's great that they have it. But if they didn't, I think life goes on.
Well, here's the thing: we don't have to deal with that scenario anymore about life going on. This is a city that has the highest poverty rate of any city in the country. They have the highest concentration of African Americans of any metropolitan city in America, over 56%. And when you take away something that gives you hope, that gives you just a flicker of hope, it's huge. Like I told you, Mike, I grew up in South Central L.A. I could tell you about a time when I was covering a basketball court dedication that Nike did on behalf of Kobe Bryant in South Central L.A., and I sat at the top of the bleachers with an 8-year-old kid. And I asked the 8-year-old kid, what do you think about Kobe Bryant? And that 8-year-old kid told me Kobe Bryant does not care about us. He's only here because Nike is bringing him out here for this basketball court. These kids get it. The reason why LeBron James is big as he is because he resonates. He resonates across the country with the grassroots generation of African Americans who are trendsetters in this country. I don't care what nobody else tells you. You let black kids stop buying tennis shoes, and Jordan and all these other people are a wrap. The reality is real. LeBron James is deserved to be in this town. He's needed in this town. And this town needs him.
All right, before we run out of time.
he would have never came back.
Because it's going to turn into a LeBron James segment here, and I got other questions for you. He's Ken Miller, the executive editor at the Call and Post, at Call and Post. CallandPost.com is the website. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram, or Twitter at Call_Post. I want to talk about the game a little bit, though, and some of the other characters within the game. The last time we talked, you posed a scenario in which losing this series could call for some changes. That one of those changes being that Kyrie Irving could be out on his way out of Cleveland. Well, now that things have played out and we saw Kyrie show up in the way he did in these finals, the question I have to ask you is this one of those situations where the big stage has possibly elevated him a star into superstardom, and that he'll now be set up not to be on someone else's roster, but to be the guy who once his skill set starts to diminish a little bit and he needs more help, Kyrie Irving has set himself up to be that help?
Well, I don't think there's any question about it. I think we all knew going into this series that Kyrie was a fantastic basketball player.
Definitely.
But what people questioned was his IQ and his unselfish aspect that he would have to play the point guard position. Kyrie Irving is a scorer, and put on an island with anybody, one-on-one, no one in this league can stop it.
It's a wrap.
And it took LeBron James to say, I'm okay, man, with you being you. You just need to be okay with me being me. And I'm the leader of this team. And once Kyrie got that, and this is just one huge, enormous step, when he takes the next step, he is going to be a superstar.
That's what I'm talking about.
Don't think Kevin Love is going anywhere, because this was a horrific matchup for Kevin Love. Kevin Love not athletic, and the Golden State Warriors, when Bogut went out, it helped Kevin Love. Kevin Love is really a stretch four, and he wasn't able to be a stretch four against this team. It's almost like a prize fight. Styles make fights.
Absolutely.
And this was not a good style that the Cavs ran into. I always thought if Cleveland would have played San Antonio, it would have been an easier path to the championship than Golden State or even OKC. But they went through the beast, man. They went through the best team in the history of this league on record, and they beat them on their own backcourt, and nobody can take that away from them. And as a result of that, the Cleveland Cavaliers are a legitimate NBA champion, and with a few pieces and a few wrinkles, they will be knocking on the door right back again. So they got LeBron James, the greatest player in the world. They're going to knock on the door anyway.
So let's talk stylistically. You talk about the style making this matchup. Some of the things I saw on the court that confused me. The fact that Steve Kerr did not send help when they kept putting Steph into that pick and roll and getting the switch they wanted on either Kyrie or LeBron. And adversely, the Warriors going away from the pick and roll, the Steph Clay pick and roll, in which they just kept seeming like they just kept losing Klay Thompson in the pick and roll. He was barely setting the picks and just kind of slipping the pick and finding his spot. So stylistically, outside of the effort stuff from Tristan Thompson and those type of things, but stylistically and X's and O's wise, what did you see while watching last night's game?
Well, I saw pretty much what you saw, Big Mike. I saw Steve Kerr get out coach.
Yeah.
I saw Steve Kerr get out coach. When he was just rolling the ball out and the shots were going in, he's essentially running the same system that Mark Jackson had. With the same players that Mark Jackson.
Now you're gonna make us argue, Ken. You're gonna make us argue over that Mark Jackson stuff.
And I'm here to tell you that I just don't think Steve Kerr is a bad basketball coach, because coaching is about managing people, and Steve Kerr was the right fit for that group of players in San Francisco, but he did not make the necessary adjustments that he had to make when he had to make them. And I'll tell you this, I've been around basketball for a long time, over 35 years, and the three-point shot is still the lowest percentage shot in basketball. It's like a 52-yard field goal in football. It's like, and the reality of it is there are some guys that can make that at a high clip.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have the kind of season that Golden State had, and it's a very stressful season, and you get to a Game 7, the one thing that's going to suffer is those long bombs, those three-point shots. And that ultimately is what the game was all about. Look, everybody's a copycat league. Everybody was trying to get smaller so that they can compete with Golden State. I think that, and essentially, now what you're going to see is that everybody wants to get faster, but small ball is not going to be the way to go, because if you can't rebound the basketball and if you can't defend, if we don't have that block on Iguodala by LeBron James, we don't even have this conversation.
And you know what? And I think something you just said is something that I've been saying for 2 years now. But the thing is, like, I don't want people to get caught up into this belief that some sort of magical key has opened the lock on Golden State. The thing with that small ball you're talking about is the key is Draymond Green. Now, if you've got a guy, Tristan Thompson, for example, that can keep him off the boards and keep him from rebounding and getting them in transition off of the rim, that's the key. But the problem is that Tristan Thompson, like, I think he's a special guy. He's a real special player, and he fits that team so much.
And the people out here didn't either.
Yeah, but you know how that works.
Be a bargain at $85 million. Kyrie Irving's going to turn out to be a bargain at $108. And I got news for you. Kevin Love's going to turn out to be a bargain at $100 plus too when the salary cap increases.
Absolutely. And they just said, I saw the article this weekend, it's already gone to 94. They've already declared it to be $94 million. I want to ask you about this as well. During the season, there was a lot of stuff going on around this team. Coaches being fired, LeBron tweeting, couldn't get along with Kevin Love. And Kobe Bryant, the great Kobe Bryant, he was actually talking about the Golden State team, but the statement I think still applies. He said with championship teams, you need some conflict. And as the day after, we saw it play out. How did you, now, in retrospect, how do you see the things they went through during the regular season, trying to meld and everybody trying to find their position and stuff with Kevin Love and Kyrie? Did you see that kind of helping them in a Game 7 for it all on the road?
Well, I don't know if conflict is the right thing. One thing that has always been consistent in sports on every level across the board, if you have a unified locker room, you got a good chance of having a unified championship.
Okay.
And that's what Golden State has proven. The Cleveland Cavaliers locker room was fractured because everybody was not buying in to the voice that was in front of them in Black.
Okay.
And once Black was relieved of his duties and Ty Lue took over, they had a voice that they all could identify with. And Ty Lue was the unifying piece to all of that. Everybody bought in. And once everybody bought in, you saw that when they went through some adversity, they went through adversity together. Not one time did anyone on this team begin to point fingers at Kevin Love when they were put on the spot about his play during this NBA Finals.
Yep.
They uplifted him. Kevin Love was the only guy in the game with a plus 19 on the court in Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Yeah. His
14 rebounds and 6 points were critical to the Cavs winning that basketball game. So Kobe's a different animal. He can justify conflict all he wants, because the only conflict he's talking about that he had is with Shaquille O'Neal. And if he didn't have that conflict, there's no telling how many rings he would have had in Los Angeles with Shaquille O'Neal. He just messed up a lottery ticket in that situation. And the Lakers, to their detriment, they will never, ever be the same as a result of that. They even though they got a couple championships after that, I don't think the Lakers will ever recover from that. And it wouldn't surprise me within the next 3 to 5 years to see the Buss family sell the Lakers organization.
Wow.
Because that right now is one of the worst organizations in all of sports and is not getting better anytime soon. Kobe was the block for every major free agent coming to Los Angeles and staying. LeBron James is a magnet for every free agent that wants to come and play with him. That's the big difference between Kobe and LeBron James. And Michael Jordan wasn't an easy guy to play with either.
Right.
But during that era, you didn't have a choice of whether or not you were going to play with Michael. Kobe took the Michael page and put steroids on it. And while he's still going to go down as one of the greatest players to ever lace them up, he probably left about 2 or 3 championships on the table.
Wrapping up here with Ken Miller, executive editor. Why do I keep saying director? Executive editor at Call and Post.
You don't have either one of my titles right. I'm the CEO and president, but Big Mike, we're not going to get into all that.
No, bruh. I got to get it right. My man. CEO and president.
Yeah, I'm the CEO and president.
At Call and Post. Yeah, man. Correct me. Get me good. CEO and president at Call and Post, callandpost.com. Ohio's Black News Leader. Follow him on Twitter at @call_post. I want to ask you, while we're kind of on hypotheticals, while we're talking about Kobe Bryant and the championships he left on the table, Jeff Van Gundy, he was very adamant that LeBron James should have won the MVP last year, even in the loss. Now, a lot of people justify it by saying that they only went 6 games. Well, this year's finals was going to go 7 games. Say they lost yesterday. Does LeBron James walk away with that? What is it called? The Bill Russell Trophy? The MVP of the finals?
Russell Trophy that they wouldn't even allow Bill Russell to present.
They did.
You're talking about the greatest player.
Wait a minute, they didn't? I saw him up there.
Greatest player. Well, you saw him standing out there, but the guy was just standing out there off to the side instead of being right there in the middle of the picture with LeBron James.
That's awesome.
But that's neither here nor there. There's no way that I would ever believe that no matter how well you play in a championship series or games, if you don't win it, you deserve the MVP.
Wow.
There's no way I would believe in that, no matter how great you are, because if you were great enough, then your team would have won the game. So I wouldn't have given him the MVP last year because they didn't win it, and I wouldn't have given him the MVP this year if they did not win it.
And there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, he's Ken Miller, Mr. President and CEO at Call and Post. Callandpost.com is the website. It's Ohio's Black News Leader. He's at _post on Twitter. As always, Ken, man, I appreciate it, and we're going to talk down the road, my man. Thank you.
Mike, I know you wasn't going to call me back if Cavs would have pulled this off.
I actually would have. But you know, but you know what I was going to do though. I was going to call my Golden.
You was going to let me have it.
No. I was going to call my Golden State person today, and then call you Wednesday. But in the case that the Cavs won, I call you today, and I'll call her on Wednesday. You see what I'm saying? I give you top billing.
You're not going to be reaching out to Stephen A. Smith.
Nah.
The colossal clown.
Nah. Oh, see, now we're going to be friends. Now that I know you feel that way, we're going to be best friends. Ken, take care, man. Have a good one.
Yeah. Okay, man.
Wow. That was the best of One Mic with Big Mike.